time. So I've met Luiz Paulo back in 2011. This was the very first origin trip, and Luiz Paulo is probably the reason why I started buying Brazilian coffees. My very first container of coffee I've ever purchased was from Luiz Paulo. I love his attitude. He's always had this vision to make Brazil coffees better than what people think they are. Every time when we think of Brazil coffees, we're thinking of blenders and sweet and nutty. But tasting his coffees for the very first time back in 2011 is when I've tasted the fruit and the floral notes in his yellow bourbons and some of the red characters. So even back in these days, they've really wanted to make sure that Brazil is not only famous for blending and for big lots, but Brazil can also produce exceptional coffee qualities. So last year when I was in Brazil in September, we had some very intense cupping days with Luiz Paulo. I remember tasting 200-300 coffees a day and doing. There was a lot of energy. When we are together in the same room, we always talk about coffee, about the flavor, how we can make coffees better, how we can learn, how we can evolve. So after 2 days, he actually took me to one of his new projects that he started, which is a geisha farm, about 100 hectares of geisha farm. And I was very impressed to see that he managed to get these beautiful geisha trees from so many different countries. Like there's Tanzania geisha that's grown in the shade. There's geisha from Panama, from several producers, geisha from Colombia, geisha from Costa Rica, geisha from Honduras. And they all, of course, look a little bit different. And they vary between 1,000 meters to 1,200 meters, more shade, less shade, different terroirs. And I was so curious to see, wow, well, if you separate this, what they can taste like, and my brain for, the coffee, the science, the processing started clicking in, and we just could not stop talking. And after several hours, Luiz Paulo goes, well, why don't we do this together? I said, what do you mean? I said, well, you obviously, we obviously sharing the similar vision, and we want to make these coffees, as best as they can be. And Luiz Paulo obviously recognized that the work we have been doing with the Project Origin, with carbonic maceration, processing, and the work we have done all over the world. So we thought, well, if we team up here, we can actually do something very, very special. So we decided to start AMA Geisha project. With so many different geisha varietals throughout the processing that we do, different levels of carbonic maceration, anaerobics, as well as different drying, and making sure that we can really present and classify these coffees in the best possible way. We all love geisha coffees, but we also recognize that geisha coffees is a very niche market. A lot of these amazing coffees are used in competition platforms, and quite of these other coffees that are still available outside of the competition, yes, they are highly priced, and not many people can taste these coffees due to the high prices. The goal with the Brazil Geisha project is to do two things: taste truly unique profiles, but in the same time, these coffees can be more accessible for so many people. And 100 hectares of geisha means about 10 containers in a few years of that coffee, and 10 containers of geisha coffee to be able to be served all over the world in our batch brews, in our everyday espressos, in our milk coffees, would really help to elevate Brazil coffees, would also help to elevate the coffee itself. We can make geisha coffee a lot more accessible for so many more people. So I'm very, very excited about this vision. I cannot wait to start. I'm going to be heading there in May, and together with Luiz Paulo, with some support from our leading coffee producers that I'm very well connected with, we're going to be heading to Brazil, hopefully with University of Switzerland as well, team, and the Professor Chahan, so we can really start understanding that terroir and these different varietals. What are the potentials there, and throughout the processing and fermentation we can allow these potentials to be highlighted, and then and hopefully when I come back in several months again, we can taste all of these coffees and be able to present the first year of the first harvest of AMA Geisha project with everyone around the world.